My name is David Giles. I'll be giving you a persuasive speech on the importance of wearing your seatbelt. Hopefully my goal is to persuade you that if you do not wear your seatbelt, to wear your seatbelt all the time, not just when you feel like it or just never doing it. So I'll start off with my introduction. It's kind of a sad story. I grew up, had a best friend all through grade school, high school, graduated. About a year after we graduated, he had met a girl, just started dating, had a new car, beautiful days, thought he'd take his girl out for a drive. I believe it was a convertible, so he had his top down, was not wearing his seatbelt. Driving in some curvy roads here in East Tennessee, a vehicle came into his lane. He obviously swerved to miss that vehicle, and in doing so hit a tree, and was not wearing his seatbelt like I mentioned before, and he unfortunately did not survive. 19 years old. That was 15 years ago. So who knows where he would have been today, but unfortunately he died at the scene as a result of not wearing his seatbelt. On the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website, it states that a total of 21,022 passenger vehicle occupants died in motor vehicle crashes in 2014. More than half were teens, 13 to 19, and adults, 20 to 44, who died in crashes in that same year were unrestrained at the time of the crash. That comes straight from the Centers for Disease Control website. I know that sometimes we forget to put our seatbelt on when we get in the car, maybe because it's not comfortable, or we don't believe in seatbelts, or they're broke, or whatever the excuse is. As a police officer, I unfortunately have to see some things that happen after the fact that you haven't worn your seatbelt. So it is my goal that everybody wear their seatbelt, if not for yourself, for your family, in case you are in an accident. The wearing of your seatbelt significantly decreases your chances of serious injury if you're involved in a car accident. Whether the accident is a simple fender bender or a full-out totaled vehicle, the seatbelt is worth a few seconds that it takes to put it on to go ahead and click it. I'll just now go over a little bit of the consequences of not wearing your seatbelt. And unfortunately, these are not going to be the greatest. So when passengers are not restrained by a seatbelt, 3 forms of collisions occur. And I know that before I became a police officer, I didn't think about the different collisions that actually occur in an accident. So you have the first collision, which involves the vehicle and whatever the vehicle is in an accident with, whether it's another vehicle, could be another person, could be a tree, as in the case of my friend. That is the first collision. The second collision occurs between the individuals inside the vehicle and the vehicle itself. And the third collision occurs when the body's internal organs hit against the inside of your skeletal wall and your chest wall. So those are the 3 collisions that occur in a vehicle accident. And I got that from a gentleman named Mr. Underhill, and you can find that reference on. Stand by for me just a second. The consequences of not wearing a seatbelt and common injuries resulting from road accidents by Mr. Malcolm Underhill. Common injuries to unrestrained drivers in frontal collisions. That just means the front of the vehicle is hit. Head injuries, chest injuries, abdomen injuries. Common injuries to unrestrained drivers in side-on collisions, which obviously means you've been hit from the side. Chest injuries, lower extremities, and again abdomen injuries. Common injuries to unrestrained drivers in rear crashes, which can be the most dangerous. You have spine injuries, neck injuries, and also head and chest injuries. Some of these injuries can include internal bleeding, fractured or broken bones, whiplash, which I've had before, not from a car accident, but from playing football, and traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs. I've had to deal with a few people that have had traumatic brain injuries, and it comes off as though maybe they're intoxicated or something like that, but it's very serious. Anything that has to do with the head, neck, or spine, it's very serious, as we all know that. So now that I've scared you a little with the injuries, I want to talk about maybe the ways to avoid a lot of these injuries. Be the truthful importance of wearing your seatbelt at all times. Use of the seatbelt is the single most effective means of reducing fatal and non-fatal injuries in motor vehicle accidents. When employed, seatbelts reduce the risk of fatal injury to front seat passengers by 45%. And that comes to you courtesy of Miss Militia Crumish, and she wrote an article called Teen Driver Safety and Seatbelt Use. And that is actually stand by just a second. It's a high number, 45%. So we can reduce that by 45% for fatal injuries. Due to the importance of the seatbelt, states all across the country have been ramping up seatbelt laws. I know here in Tennessee, and I know this because I enforce it. Last year, or January of this year, the fine rose from $10 to $25 for the first offense. And any offense after that is $50 each offense. The Tennessee law for seatbelt is the Tennessee Code Annotated 55-9-603, and it states no person shall operate a passenger motor vehicle on any highway as defined in 55.8.101 in this state unless the person and all passengers 4 years of age or older are restrained by a safety belt at all times the vehicle is in forward motion. So after hearing all the information I provided, I have just one request. Wear your seatbelt. That's it. If you never do it because it hurts or it's uncomfortable, buck up and wear it. I don't wish you a wreck on anyone, but it happens. Just yesterday, driving on the interstate, I passed 6 wrecks just because of people probably not driving correctly in the rain. And here in Tennessee, people usually don't drive well in the rain, the snow, sunny weather, cloudy. It doesn't matter. If you only wear your seatbelt when you remember to put it on, just start making it a habit to put it on as soon as you get in the car and shut that door. And if you are wearing it all the time, then good job. Don't get that $25 and $50 fine. It can add up. So in conclusion, I just want to go over a couple of things that I've already been over. I covered the injuries that can occur during a vehicle accident if you do not wear your seatbelt. I also gave you a background of what happened to my friend a year after he graduated high school, and the fines. Obviously, we don't want to give the state any more money than we have to. It's also important for everyone that watches this or checks out the outline that I post, or to remember to always put their seatbelt on, even if you're a passenger. If the driver's not doing it, it's his or her option, but go ahead and put that on even if you're a passenger. And now I'll just leave with a video of the importance of wearing your seatbelt. And thank you for your time. Technical difficulties. Murphy's Law, we just went over it. Well, I guess no video, but if you Google it or YouTube it, importance of wearing a seatbelt, there's tons of videos out there. So I would advise you maybe to watch some of those and just see what can happen. So I appreciate your time again, and thank